guys, welcome back. 1776 or bust. And on the table, you see a bunch of different stuff here. You see a spring, you see a base plate, a follower, 3 magazines, and the Shield Performance Center 4-inch. By the way, I love this gun. This gun here, some people were saying the biggest negative about this gun is the capacity on the magazine. So we're going to work through that, and we're actually going to fix that problem right now. But overall, this has been a fantastic handgun. I absolutely love the Shield. It's just such a beautiful gun. Works really well. I've put the Apex trigger in there. I put some F8 sights on here, which I still got to do a review on that, man. I really got to get a review on these sights because they're just really cool and they work really well. But this particular review is actually going to be about the magazines and this little guy right here. So for those of you who recognize this is actually from the company called Magguts. Now, Magguts has been doing this for years. They've been making these extended springs so you can fit them in Walther PPS, the Smith. I think they may have them for Glocks as well. I'm not sure. But, I mean, overall, the product is very solid. It has a very good, solid track record with people who have used the products before. And this is really my first experience with this company. So as you can see, this spring here is fairly long. This is actually going to be a spring that would go in one of these, which is the extended magazines. Now, they offer the +1 and the +2 for both of these. So this one, even though it says 7 on there, this is actually carrying 8 rounds right now. So to prove my point, there's 1, there's, oops, let me get that out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 rounds goes right in and goes right out. This one is carrying 10. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's not bad. And again, this is another one, 10 rounds. 1, 2, oops. I got to kind of angle it up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So in total, 28 rounds just came out of this Shield. So in my opinion, if you are a Shield owner and you're kind of down because you have kind of capacity envy in regards to a Glock 43X, 48, the SIG, blah, 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 what you can do is you can actually adjust that if you'd like. Now, this does add a little bit of size to the grip. However, it is not overwhelming. Not to mention, most people are not going to be carrying with this one. They're actually going to be carrying with this one here. And to me, that's why the Shield is a very versatile handgun. If you wanted to have deep concealment, you go with the flat base plate magazine, which is this one here, or you go with the extended round if you don't want to be fully concealed or still have the ability to conceal it. I've carried both ways and have had no issues either way. One of the other good things about this Magguts product is that you'll notice that there's a pinky extension here. This is from NDZ Performance. So even with the Magguts installed, you can still use this base plate. And to me, it makes this Shield even better because you're getting that pinky without really giving up much in regards to length at all. Again, the flat base plate will kind of be right about there. And you can see there's barely any material there. So it's definitely a huge improvement also for the ergonomics if you're going to carry with that smaller magazine. Now, one of the things that I found about this gun, or I should say the magazines when I was installing this, was that when I was getting to the 9th round, it was some difficulty. I'm not going to lie to you and say there wasn't, but there definitely was some difficulty trying to cram that 10th round in. You know, for me, it's not the spring's fault. It's actually my fault. I couldn't get enough tension down on that spring to be able to force that 10th round magazine. So I actually had to use one of these, this Uplula right here. And I actually just gave it a little bit of a tap on my table. And I was able to push that spring and compress it down enough. After I did that the first time on this one and this one, I've had no further issues after that. So again, I think it's more or less my installation issue than really the spring issue. I've also shot a little bit over 100 rounds with these 3 magazines, and I've had no issues with them. They've completely worked, locked back, fed all the ammunition perfectly, no double feeds, nothing, no stovepipes. There was absolutely nothing wrong with these magazines with these new springs put into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to show you how to install this. But, again, I'm just going to throw this disclaimer out here. You guys know my handshake. It's just part of the deal. So what I'll do is I'll probably show you how to get it in the spring in. I'll do it off camera so I don't have to deal with the 5 billion comments about my handshaking. And then I'll show you how easy this really is to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take my little punch and I'm going to punch out the little brass tip. And you can see that this basically comes off. Let me just get that right there. Now, the spring is already compressed. I don't want to really let go of that spring because, it's a real pain to get it in there. Again, installation isn't necessarily the easiest thing, but it's not the hardest either. It just takes a lot of patience. So once you get that spring compressed, you want to hold your thumb over the locking pin that's, attached here. And I'll go over that in a minute. And then basically you have the base plate. You'll notice that in the base plate, there are a couple of channels there. those channels have to fit over the teeth of the magazine body, not the actual locking pin plate. So basically what you do is you basically want to just kind of follow along. Let me see if I can do this off camera because I can't see anything with this microphone in my face. So I'm doing this off camera, and let me adjust the microphone so you can hear me. But what you have to do is you really just have to carefully put this on. And when you get to the teeth of the magazine, or the base, whoops, I just dropped my base plate. Oh man. All right, so what you want to do is you want to compress it enough so that the thing can slide over the teeth. And then once you get to the teeth, you want to really just lose a little bit of that pressure, not too much, because what's going to happen is, if I can get it to work, that would be great. There we go. So what's going to happen is as the teeth go over the magazine body, I just basically release a little bit of that pressure on the pin or on the locking plate. Once I do that, the locking plate goes right in and it actually will lock into place, no problems. Drop the sleeve down, and basically you have now a 10-round magazine out of an 8-round magazine. Now keep in mind, that's probably why there's a lot of tension when you're trying to get that 9th and 10th round in there, because these magazines were not designed for that. But nonetheless, it works very well. So to prove my point, let's use a little mechanical advantage here, and we'll start feeding the rounds in. So that's 1 round. You guys can see, so that I'm not faking it and I'm not pretending. That's 1 round in there. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's all sing along. 6, 7, 8. I love this thing. 9, and that's where you're going to hit that tipping point. You can see it's hard to kind of crash down, but because I've been able to compress this a couple of times already, there's no other issues. So you just throw that 10th round in there and you got 10 rounds. I mean, it's just absolutely perfect, guys. So like I said, if you guys have been looking for something to make you feel a little bit better about owning a shield, because again, right now the competition is always about, oh, I got to have more rounds, got to have more rounds. This is the best way to do that. I mean, each one of these magazines works flawlessly, like I said, and the installation is about, literally 5 minutes. I don't even think it took me that long to do it. And one of the things I'll show you really quick after I load this magazine up, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Twisting it a little bit, and there's 9, and there's your 10th round. So both, no problem whatsoever. Now, the interesting thing about this little thing here, as I said before, is you're going to notice that they've attached this to the spring now. So it's not 2 separate pieces, which in my opinion makes the installation of this item even easier. And basically all you do is just shove it in the magazine body with their follower that comes along with the package. And then you put a little pressure with your thumb on this piece, slide the base plate over it, and then just slightly release it so that it locks in place, and then you're good to go. And this one has the 7 rounds plus 1, which is actually pretty awesome too. So we'll load this up just to make sure you guys trust that I'm telling you the truth. There's 3, there's 4, there's 5, 6, get in there, 6, 7, and, oh, let me do that again. There's 8. 8 rounds. Boom. So 10, 20, 8. In my opinion, that's pretty darn solid. That is a great feature for this gun because the shield, in my opinion, is just a great gun. Again, one of the things you're also going to notice is because it is pretty tense in regards to spring tension, you're going to have some difficulty just kind of pushing it in. You're going to have to just kind of slam it in that way. Again, as the springs kind of get more and more used, I see that being less and less a problem. I mean, technically, 2 fingers on the bottom, and you can still lock it in place. But it is definitely, in my opinion, this is definitely a usable feature for this gun. And just to show you in regards to finger placement, you'll notice that, yes, it does extend a little bit because you're adding 2 rounds. But again, this is still extremely manageable. I actually wish I had my 43X with me right now so you could see it. The 43X bottom comes out to about here, and this just kind of extends. I'll actually take a picture and I'll put it up right now. But overall, even with the 8-round magazine body, slam it in there, and like I said, man, this thing is golden. It's good to go. So tell me what you guys think. If you have any experience with the Magguts, if you used them before, what have your experiences been? Have you had any failures, anything like that? So far so good. It's shot well, locks back every time, and no failures as a result of the new springs in each one of these guns. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. I hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe, and as always, everyone, freedom is never free.